Hello, hello, hello. I am the Windows Mensch. Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mensch. Today, I'm going to talk about end of life for Windows 10 EOL and how to prepare yourself to transition to Linux. So, let's get to it. Today, I'm in a virtual machine of Windows 10. The past few days, I've been thinking a lot about Windows 10 end of life. Now, the thing is that you still have 10 more months. But if you're not a computer person, as far as uh, messing around with the computer or computer savvy, you're just the type of person that likes to turn on the computer and use it, you really should give this some serious thought. Now, if you have an older computer, it's probably not going to be eligible for Windows 11. And like I said, the end of Windows 10 is coming in October, 10 months away. And after that, Windows won't be getting any more, and after that, Windows 10 won't be getting any more updates, no more security updates or security patches. And really, you shouldn't be using Windows 10 after next October. Now, if your computer is older, it won't be eligible for an update to Windows 11. And there's been a lot of talk in the Windows world about whether Microsoft is going to allow older computers to update to Windows 11 or not. Some websites say they're going to lessen the requirements or loosen up the requirements. Some websites say they're not going to. It's kind of a mess. And the thing is that really what Microsoft wants you to do is to go out and buy a new computer with Windows 11 in it. Because every time you buy a new computer with Windows in it, well, all computers come with Windows unless you buy a Mac. But every time you buy a computer with Windows in it, Microsoft gets a piece of the action, right? What are your options? Your options are to update to Windows 11 if it allows you. If it doesn't allow you, keep using it the way it is and put yourself at risk. Number 3, you can go out and buy a new computer with Windows 11 in it. Number 4, you can switch to Linux. And if you're not that computer savvy, you probably should start working on it now. So, what you could do is start using applications in your Windows 10 machine that work in Linux. For instance, right here, instead of using Microsoft Edge, and I hope you're not using it because it's a lousy web browser. So, for instance, you could start using Firefox. It works both in Windows and Linux, and it comes installed by default in most Linux distributions. And you can put an add-on into it for an ad blocker, which would be this right here. Also, Brave browser, you could use Brave browser, start using it in your Windows machine. And Brave browser is not available in every Linux distribution. Well, maybe. In some Linux distributions, it's available in the main repository. In other Linux distributions, you have to download it as a Flatpak or as an AUR from the Arch user repository, but don't worry about that. Like I said, you can get it in most distributions, and it comes with a built-in ad blocker already installed. Now, like I said, Firefox comes already installed in most Linux distributions. So when you download it and you put Linux into your computer, you're already going to have Firefox there. Now, another thing you can do is if you're using Microsoft Office, you could start using LibreOffice. So let's go to the LibreOffice website and let's just type in LibreOffice. Now, LibreOffice comes installed by default in most Linux distributions, and even if it's not installed by default, you can go and get it. And of course, it works in Windows, so you could start using LibreOffice right now. So I'm going to go to download LibreOffice. I'm going to download it and install it. LibreOffice 24.8.4. I'm going to download it for Windows. Let's save it. Let's close that. Let's close the web browser. Let's go to my file manager. Let's go to downloads. Here it is here. Let's click it on. And if it's going to take a while to download it, then I'm going to pause the video, so don't worry about that. Let's click on next. Let's just do a typical. Let's click on next. Create a shortcut on the desktop. Sure. And let's install it. So it's installing LibreOffice. I might have to reboot my computer. Let's say yes. And if it's going to take a while, or if I have to reboot my Windows computer, and then I'm going to pause the video and come back. But let's just see how this works. Okay, the installation is complete. Took about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. So let's click on finish. And let's see. I don't have to. I'm surprised. Thought I was going to have to reboot my computer. So let's close this. And there it is there. There's the icon. Let's click on the icon and start LibreOffice. It's a full Office suite that comes installed by default in most Linux distributions. And if it doesn't come installed by default, you can go and get it. Really easy. So let's make this full screen. So here we have Document Writer. Let's open it up. So this is your Office Writer. It's pretty similar to Microsoft Office. Even looks almost the same. Actually, it looks like an older version of Microsoft Office, which I like better. I prefer the older versions than the newer versions. And what you could do is, now LibreOffice saves the document in its own format. Now, you can open documents that were made in Microsoft Office. You can open them in here and read them. And when you're creating a brand new document, it automatically gets saved in its own format that won't open in Microsoft Office, but you can change it so that it does open up in Microsoft Office. So let's just do a test. Okay, so I wrote the word test. Let's just make that a little bigger so you can see it. Well, let's make it really bigger. Let's bold it. Okay, so now I'm going to save it. Okay, so it's saving it, and I don't know if you can see this. I hope you can. It's saving it as an ODF text document. Now, that's automatic. Now, if we save it like that and you send it to someone using Microsoft Office, they won't be able to open it. But you can pull down this menu and let's save it as a Word 2010 to 365 document. Okay, and let's just call it test. And we're going to save it. Now it's giving you a warning. Do you want to save it as a Word document or as an ODF format? And of course, ODF format is the automatic or the natural format for LibreOffice. So we're going to click on this one. So now we saved it as a Word document. If you send it to somebody that's using Microsoft Office, they'll be able to open it and read it. Now you might say, well, that's really a hassle. Well, you can program LibreOffice Writer to always save as a Word document automatically. And that's what I would do. So this Windows 10 is a virtual machine that I'm in. And I always make the resolution large for my virtual machines, because when I'm showing you something on the video, I want to make sure that you can see it. So I had to turn down the resolution in order for you to see this menu. So if we close this, you can see everything is smaller now. And even, I don't know how, if the time is showing up and everything is showing up properly. But for you to see LibreOffice properly, I had to turn down the resolution. So what you're going to do is go into Tools, bring down this menu, and you're going to go to Options. See that there? Options. So we're going to click on Options. And I'm afraid you won't be able to see this, that it will be too tiny. So I'm going to make the resolution larger again. But I showed you how to get into there. And I'm going to go back to 1280 by, I think I had it by 720. Yeah, that's what it had it. Perfect. I just like it to be larger. It's easier on my eyes, and I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing in the video. So let's go back to LibreOffice. So I just want you to see that menu when it's this large. You can't see it, and for some reason it's not letting me scan down, but Options is right below Customize. Okay, so once we're on this screen, we're going to go to Load and Save. Then we're going to go to General. So right here it says always save as ODF text document .odf. So I'm going to pull down this third one, this third menu, and I'm going to bring it up to Word 2010 365 document dot docx dot docs. So now it's always going to save it as a Word document. So let's OK it. And let's get out of here. Let's just save it. And let's open up a new document and see if it works. So here's my LibreOffice icon. Let's open up a new writer document. Oh, and I want to turn off this show tips on startup. That's always there. So now it's never going to go on because I don't like it. I don't want that to go on every time I'm opening up my LibreOffice. So let's open up a new writer document and let's just type in second test. And we can change the font to be larger by default. And I'm not going to show you everything on how to use LibreOffice because this video is not really about that. So let's just automatically save it. Let's see what happens. See, now when we save it, we can see it's automatically being saved as a Word document. So now you can send it to your friends that are using, or your coworkers that are using LibreOffice, and they can open the document and read it. Now, if we open it again, and I'm going to open up Calc. Now you have other programs that come with it, the LibreOffice suite, but I'm just going to open up the spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet program is called Calc, and that's their spreadsheet program. Very similar to Microsoft Excel. And then you're going to do the same thing in there. You're going to go to Tools. Oh, and here I don't have to make it smaller to get to the menu. I guess the menu in the Word document is a lot longer because there's more options, I guess. So here we have options here. So I'm not going to go to Customize. I'm going to go to Options. And I'm going to go down here to Load and Save. And then I'm going to go to General. And I'm going to go here. Always save as ODF spreadsheet.ods. I'm going to pull that down. I'm going to save it as, I'm going to change it to Excel 2007 to 365.xlsx. Okay. And I'm going to OK it. So now I'm going to close it. And now I'm going to open it again. And I'm going to open up another spreadsheet. Let's just change this to 26. I want you to be able to see it. Let's type in, let's do +1. Let's do +10 times 100. Okay, so it's 1,000, okay? And let's save it. Let's see how it's saving it as an Excel document. Let's just call it test 3. And it saved it as an Excel document, so you can open this up in Microsoft Excel, or you can send it to someone who can open it up in Microsoft Excel. That's not the only Office you can get in, and like I said, the full LibreOffice suite comes fully installed automatically by default in most Linux distributions, and even if it's not, you can go and get it. Now I'm going to open up Firefox. There's another program you can use. It's called OnlyOffice, and here it is here, OnlyOffice. And this one I'm not going to download and show you how to use it, but it's pretty much the same. So OnlyOffice is another free Office program. It comes with a Word document and a spreadsheet program, and it's pretty much the same as LibreOffice. It has some slight variations and some differences. And this program automatically saves your Word documents and your spreadsheet documents in the Microsoft format. You don't have to change it the way we did with LibreOffice. Like I said, it's a full Office suite that's free, and you can download it and use it in Windows, and it's available in most Linux distributions as well. So if you're the kind of person that's using Microsoft Office, I highly recommend that for now you keep your Windows computer and go and download LibreOffice or OnlyOffice and learn how to use them and see if they're workable for you, if you can live with them. Now, another thing is that for making my videos, I do my recording in OBS Studio. Let's open up Brave browser this time. Right, so OBS Studio, I do all my recording in, and OBS Studio is available in Windows, Mac, and Linux. And it's free. And I do all my recording in it inside my Linux box. Now, Kdenlive, I do all my editing in Kdenlive. And let's just hit download. I hope it's not going to start downloading it. So when I make my videos inside my Linux computer, I use Kdenlive to do all my editing, and it's available in Windows, Linux, and Mac. And I make my thumbnails in GIMP. Now, GIMP is something like Photoshop, but I think Photoshop is probably a better program. I never used Photoshop. Even when I was on Windows full-time, I never used Photoshop. I never even used it once. So I don't want to speak too much about it. But GIMP is a free and open source program, and I use it to make my thumbnails for my YouTube channel. Let's just hit download. I hope it's not going to start downloading it. So GIMP is available in Linux, Mac OS, and Microsoft Windows. Now, another program that a lot of Linux people use is VLC. And VLC is an app for listening to music and watching videos. And VLC is available in every Linux distribution. And it's also available in Windows, Linux, and Mac iOS. And like I said, it's for watching videos and listening to music, and a lot of people love it. So the thing is that if you are thinking of switching to Linux, and if you have a computer that's too old to update to Windows 11, and you don't want to go out and buy a new computer, you don't have the money to go out and buy a new computer, and you're thinking of switching to Linux, now is a good time to start working on it. So what I'm suggesting is don't wait until next October when Windows 10 comes to end of life. Start working on it now. Now, the best way to switch to Linux is if you have an extra computer. Then you can download a Linux ISO, install it on your extra computer, and if things go bad and it doesn't work out, or it gets installed and it's working but you don't like it, then you still have your main production computer to do your work in, your office work in, your production in, or if you're a student to do your work. So don't wipe out Windows and install Linux if you're a student, a couple of days or a week before your exams, or a few days before a major project is due. So really the best way to install Linux is to have an extra computer. The second best way to install Linux is to install it in a virtual machine. So if your Windows computer has at least 8 gigabytes of RAM, then you can install a virtual machine, and there's two that you can install. 2 virtual machines, that is. So you could go to VirtualBox, click it on, and VirtualBox is a free and open source software program for making and creating virtual machines. And VirtualBox is available in Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. So you could download this program, install it, and then pick a Linux distribution that you want to try, download the ISO, and install it on here. And you can use it in VirtualBox. And I've used VirtualBox in 2 different computers, real bare metal computers. I've used a VirtualBox with 2 computers that they both had only 8 gigabytes of RAM. And I was able to run Linux Mint, Debian Linux, and Arch Linux. And if you don't want to use this, and it's free, right? You don't have to pay for it. And there's another one you can use, and that is VMware. So once here, you're going to go to Products. Then you're going to scan right down to the bottom to this box here where it says See Desktop Hypervisors. Let's click it on. And you can run VMware on Windows and Linux and other virtual machines. It also runs on Mac. Okay. And you could download this one right here. Now, I know they have a free one and a paid one. So you're probably not going to want the paid one, but you can download a free version of VMware. And I'm not going to show you how to do that today. I'm going to do that in another video. But you could download and install VMware into your Windows computer, and then pick a Linux distribution that you want to try out. Download the ISO, and install Linux inside VMware, inside your Windows computer. And it's not going to hurt your computer. It's going to give you a chance to experiment with Linux and to use Linux and take it for a test run before Windows 10 end of life. And I've used VMware as well. And I've also used VMware like VirtualBox. I've used VMware in 2 different bare metal computers, and both of them had only 8 gigabytes of RAM. And like I said before with VirtualBox, I was able to run virtual machines of Debian Linux, Linux Mint, and Arch Linux. And both VMware and VirtualBox are free. Now, another thing that people like to use is Microsoft Outlook for their email. So what I'm going to do is open up Firefox, and I'm going to do a search for Thunderbird. Here it is here, Thunderbird email. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and actually I'm going to download it and install it. Now, Thunderbird email is available in every distribution of Linux, and some Linux distributions have it installed by default, and in other ones you're going to have to go and get it. And as you can see right here, it's available for Windows, Linux, and Mac. So I'm going to download it, and you can see here it's downloading, and then I'm going to go and install it. And it's free and open source. They ask for a donation, but that's up to you whether you want to give a donation or not. I'm going to open up my file manager, and I'm going to go to downloads, and I'm going to click it on, and I'm going to install it. And you can see here it's installing. So like I said, Thunderbird is an email client. It's kind of similar to Microsoft Outlook, but it's different. You want to install this app? Yes. I'm going to click on next. It's just going to go with the standard, and I'm going to click on install. And Thunderbird email, I've used it in Windows and I've used it in Linux. And Thunderbird, by the way, it's finished already. Wow, that was fast. Thunderbird email is made by Mozilla, and that's the company that makes the Firefox web browser. Now, the thing about Thunderbird is that it's really easy to set up. You can set up your Gmail or any other email that you have, and it's going to download all the emails onto your hard drive in Thunderbird. And here you can see it's asking for your name, your email address, and I'm not going to set up an email here. So you know what? I was going to set it up because I want you to see what it looks like. But I don't want to put a fake email address in here. And this is a virtual machine of Windows. Now I have Thunderbird working on my bare metal computer that's running Linux, but I don't want to show you because then you're going to see my email, my real email addresses, and you're going to see emails that people sent to me and their email addresses. And I don't want you to see that. Now, like I said, I've used it in Windows and I've used it in Linux. It's really easy to set up and easy to use. And it's very similar to using Microsoft Outlook. If you know how to use Microsoft Outlook, you're going to know how to use Thunderbird. And actually, it's a lot simpler to use than Microsoft Outlook. It's not as complicated. And as a matter of fact, one day at work, where we use Windows, we use Microsoft Outlook, but I installed Thunderbird. And I was using Thunderbird, and my boss came in and saw me, and he saw Thunderbird on my screen, and he saw my emails, and he said, you know what? It looks like Microsoft Outlook. Now, it doesn't look exactly the same, but it looks very similar. And the reason why I'm showing you Thunderbird is that it's made by Mozilla, the people who make Firefox. It works in Windows, and it works in Linux, and it works in Apple. And it's an email client you can use. It's almost like Microsoft Outlook, and you can use it and play with it. Now, another thing you might want to do is PDFs. You know, Adobe doesn't work in Linux, but Linux has tons of different PDF clients or apps and software that you can use, and they're all light and easy to use and free and open source. But I'm only going to show you one, and the one I'm going to show you is because the one I'm going to show you works in Windows and it works in Linux, and it's free and open source. So I'm going to go back and open Firefox, and it's called Ocular, O-K-U-L. I think this is how you spell it. Here it is, Ocular, the Universal Document Viewer. So we're just going to scan down and, the latest update is from December 12th. So it was just updated a few weeks ago. So we're going to download it. And you can see it's good for Linux and Windows. Let's just scroll down a bit, and it's good for Windows. So that's why I'm showing you this one, because you can try using it in your Windows machine and play with it and see if you like it before transitioning to Linux. So let's download it. Let's click it on. Let's see if I can get it. Now it's saying to get it from the Microsoft Store. Now this version of Windows is not registered. It's a virtual machine of Windows, and of course, I didn't steal it or get it illegally. This is a virtual machine of Windows, and I downloaded the Windows 10 ISO from the Microsoft website. It's just not registered. So let's see if it will let me get this. Let's accept the cookies, and let's download it. Oh, it downloaded. Good. That was fast. So let's install it. Let's go back here. Let's go to download. Sorry I couldn't show you the email. I didn't really want to sign up to my email, but you can try it. If you're thinking of switching to Linux and you're running Windows 10, download the Thunderbird email client, play with it. I guarantee you're going to like it. Now, so this is Ocular. Let's set it up. This is a PDF viewer. It's a lightweight PDF viewer that works in Windows and Linux. And what's happening here? Is it not installing? And I don't know if you can hear it. It's New Year's Eve, and Happy New Year's, by the way. And I wish everyone a good, healthy New Year. There's fireworks going outside because it's after 9 o'clock at night, and people are celebrating. And what am I doing on New Year's Eve? I'm making a video. Guess I'm a nerd. So it's downloading Ocular from the Windows Store. So you know what? I'm going to pause the video for a moment and come back. So don't go away. Okay, so now it's installed. So welcome to Ocular. Let's make it full screen now. The only thing is I don't have any PDFs. Let's close this. Let's see. I don't know if it pinned anything. It didn't pin. Okay, so let's go to, let's do a search for it. Ocular. Let's pin it to the desktop. Let's just pin to taskbar. And let's close it. Now I gotta find a PDF. I don't have a PDF. This is a brand new install of Windows 10. I just installed this virtual machine of Windows 10 this morning. So I have to find a PDF. So I'm gonna pause the video and come back, so don't go away. Okay, so I downloaded a PDF for the Linux Mint installation guide. It's 54 pages. So let's open up my file manager, and it's in my downloads folder. So I'm going to open up my downloads folder, and it's right here, Linux Mint installation guide. Okay, I'm going to double click it, and that's it. This is the PDF. You can see here, it's page 1 of 54. There's 54 pages. And let's do mode view, single page. And let's do fit. I'm going to do fit page. Okay, like that. So we can just scroll down. These are all the chapters. You can get rid of the sidebar like that and get rid of it. And we can just scan down. And I like it because it works both in Windows and Linux. It's lightweight, it's easy to use, and it's available on all Linux distributions. So that's Ocular for PDFs. Okay, let's close that. And let's close that. In this video, I talked about the importance of preparing yourself for the end of life for Windows 10. And I mentioned what your options are. You can upgrade to Windows 11 if your computer has the correct hardware. You can watch some YouTube videos on how to finagle the settings and play around with the settings and get Windows 11 into your computer's 10 computer, even if it's not eligible. And I don't recommend doing that. You can buy a brand new computer that has Windows 11 in it, or you can switch to Linux. And I highly recommend you consider switching to Linux. And there's several ways to do that. Like I already mentioned in the video, number one, the best way to do it is if you have a spare computer. And it can be an old computer, 5, 10 years old. If it's 15 years old, it might not work. But even if it's 10, like my computers, I have a computer that I bought in 2011 and it's running Linux. I have another one that I bought in 2012 and it's running Linux. And Linux is a lot lighter than Windows and your computer is going to run faster. So like I said, the best way to switch is to have an extra computer, not one that you need for work or school. The next way to do it is to install VMware or VirtualBox in your Windows computer and download and install an ISO for Linux and install Linux as a virtual machine and play with it. And another thing you can do, and I highly recommend you do it, and start doing it now because you still have 10 months, is start using apps, download apps, and start using apps in your Windows computer that are also available in Linux, like Firefox, Brave browser, VLC for music and videos, LibreOffice for your Office suite, or Libre or only Office for your Office suite. And like I said, OBS Studio for recording videos, Kdenlive for editing videos, GIMP for making thumbnails. They all work in both Windows and Linux. And I also showed you an email client that works both in Windows and in Linux. It's called Thunderbird, and it's made by Mozilla, the people who make the Firefox web browser. And I also showed you an alternative PDF viewer that works both in Windows and Linux, and it's called Ocular. And the other thing is, if there's any other programs that you use for pleasure or for work or school, you might want to start investigating to see if they're available in Linux or to see if there's good alternatives for them in Linux. But I highly recommend you don't have to jump into Linux right now, and you don't have to wipe out your computer. And I don't recommend doing a dual boot because many times a Windows update can damage your bootloader. Well, it won't damage your equipment, your hardware, but it could damage the bootloader, so you won't be able to boot into your Linux. I don't recommend dual booting, but I do recommend using virtual machines, and I do recommend playing around to see if you can get all the apps and software you need. So if you watch my last video, I've been using Linux for 5 years. I don't use Windows at home. I do at work, unfortunately, but at home, I'm totally on Linux. And this Windows machine here is a virtual machine. And the only thing that I have everything I need in Linux, the only thing is that there's no iTunes for Linux. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Windows Mensch. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.